right, in today's episode, we sit down with Stu Cordes, former Army. He worked as a government contractor for a long time and still does executive protection. But probably the coolest thing we're going to talk about is his passion for adventure travel. He has been to dozens of countries, and we're going to talk about that in today's episode. So stick around. Lots of great travel tips, too, for you if you're looking to get overseas and immerse yourself in the local culture. He's a master at that. All right, here we go. Hey, welcome to the North Idaho Experience, a podcast for the people of North Idaho and those who are North Idaho curious. These stories and the people that we bring on this podcast all have a common theme, and that is they call North Idaho home. If you're thinking about making North Idaho your home, give our real estate team a call, text, or email. We would love to get that conversation started. Stu Cordes, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So,
it's good to have you.
I should say this. I say this a lot, actually. We met cold plunging. Shocker, I know. Then we, bounced around a little bit, did a few other things. And Stu's background, so prior military, government contracting for a long time, private security, and adventure traveler. And that's probably what we're going to talk about a lot today, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to move that just try to stay about 6 inches from the... Oh, it's a little high, too. We can drop it. It's too high. Hang on. I'll muscle it. There we go. Okay, check. Good stuff. So give us the cliff notes on your background, and then we'll dive into some of these cool things that you brought. He brought us a bunch of things from his world travels and some food, too. So I'm going to chew into the microphone really loudly. Stand by for that.
Oh, yeah, and full disclosure. Stu, when we'd cold plunging, and I'm a person that likes people watching. I love going to the airport because you see people and you try to figure them out, right? And you're like, I wonder what that dude's background is, right? Leaving cold plunging, you were the topic of several conversations. Like, what's that dude do? There's definitely something, because certain people put off a vibe. You're like, he's in the military. I don't know what that was all about. So I'm super curious.
Right on, man. Yeah. So military, after I got out of the military, transitioned over to the private sector doing private security overseas, Afghanistan, Iraq. Hung that up in 2015 and then started doing small projects here and there, security advising, drone work, surveillance, did some cool aerial surveillance stuff on a helicopter, and of course the drone stuff, kind of all mixed in on one of the projects. And then now I'm doing executive protection. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
And you travel a lot.
My travel schedule is super heavy, man.
Yeah. It seems like every other week you're bouncing out to some wild location, which is pretty cool.
It is.
I struggle with that because Stu's been inviting me to go on a trip to the Amazon with some contact. I don't know.
Super excited to talk about that, by the way.
I love talking about it. I'm a homebody, bro. It's really hard for me to get out. I want to be that guy a little bit, but the other part of me is I've always been the guy that stays. I don't know how to word it, right? All my jobs in my career have been protecting a place or protecting a thing and not going overseas. I talk to the guys that are in the military and they're out fighting wars, right? And I'm like, my shit was always back home. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's it's an interesting dynamic, and I wonder if that plays into it.
Have you ever had a want or a need to go overseas, or deep curiosity about it?
I have a slight curiosity, but it's not so gnawing at me that I feel like I need to do it. I do love exploring new places, and I've been all over the U.S., but yeah, I don't know.
What about you?
Man, I think we talked about it a little bit before the podcast started. I think I've been overseas a couple of times. It's one of those, traveling is really, really cool. Seeing other cultures is cool. Trying different foods and seeing different art and all of those things, the history. I'd love to go to Europe. I've never been. I was on the Pacific almost my entire military career. But I think the thing that people don't realize or talk about is the perspective that it gives you going to another country and seeing how other countries live. And that could go either way, And you said it right before this. A lot of people like to hammer on the United States and say what's wrong with this country, but I don't think you really can grasp what is right with it, especially to be blessed enough to live where we do, unless you've been to some of those countries overseas.
And maybe this is my issue. All of my overseas traveling has been in a tourist capacity, and I always leave I don't want to go somewhere and have somebody try to sell me chiclets or whatever. It's so bad. And I know that's not the culture. That's just the Americanized version that I'm getting. So maybe I've never even had that real experience with a true culture. I don't ever get to the culture. I just get to the freaking what they want me to see.
Yeah. The culture immersion aspect is probably the thing I enjoy the most, the culinary side, getting out of those touristy areas, getting into where like the real raw local stuff is. And speaking on the Amazon portion, being barefooted in the Amazon and just out there,
That's wild.
creepy crawlies, you know, you're out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
You kind of push yourself a little bit pre-trip to kind of prep and learn the different languages,
Yeah.
the basic stuff. 'Cause I can't remember what I ate last night, you know, so
Right.
being able to learn those basic language skills and just kind of get out of those touristy areas.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to get the most fulfillment, at least for me.
I guess like the other side to me is I worry about security when I'm there, you know, but I imagine I go out there and it's probably a lot more welcoming than it is in my mind. You know what I mean? I think I've been conditioned to think if I go overseas, I'm going to be in danger, right? Which is stupid, really.
Have you been to Spokane, Washington?
Good point.
You're good.
Right?
You're good.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess like, you know, I don't have a safety net. I can't call anybody. I can't call 911. I can't, you know what I mean? I don't have any of those things.
Right.
I'm sure there's somebody you could call, but it's not quite the same. And maybe that's what holds me back. I don't know.
You know, a lot of the skills that you learn and obtained throughout your time in law enforcement
Right.
transition over to that safety aspect of traveling abroad.
Yeah.
You know, everything from hotel safety to point A to point B safety and just being aware of your surroundings, you know. And like for me, I usually have a driver with me. So a local guy that knows the area, knows what areas to avoid. And then you just kind of just go with the flow, man.
Yeah.
You know, I've never been in a situation, at least with this job, to where I've felt unsafe. Well, there's been some shady areas, of course, but nothing to where it's worrisome.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and I think body language kind of transcends verbal language, right?
Sure.
If you are in a job where it pays to pay attention to body language
Right.
or pre-fight indicators or anything like that, that is likely the same overseas as it is here.
Yeah. I guess you probably blend in a little. Your skin's more olive toned. Got long hair. I'm like tall, bald, white dude. Like I can't tan. So I feel like I'd stick out like a sore thumb anywhere I go. Unless it were Scandinavia, then I fit right in.
You would stick out in the Amazon for sure.
Definitely in the Amazon.
That's something I would
Definitely in
like
the
to watch.
Amazon. And maybe that's not a bad thing. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter, but it's definitely on my mind. You know, like Mexico, people are always like, let's go to Mexico. I'm like, yeah, like, you know, ending up in a barrel full of acid is not on my list of things that I want to do. And I just feel like if I go, you know, to the wrong place in Mexico, people are going to be like, oh, that dude doesn't belong here. Mm-hmm. And then that's what happens, right? At least that's what I've been conditioned to believe happens.
But there's places in the U.S. too that are
Absolutely.
just as dangerous.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Chicago, right? It's the wrong part of Chicago. I'm going to stick out there, and then I'm probably not going to be liked.
I'm going to try to change your mindset on that, man.
I'm open to it. Yeah, I'm not stubborn on anything in life. I'm definitely down to.
Amazon, to go back.
Amazon. Yeah. So it's easy. It's real easy. Get a passport.
Okay.
We fly down to Peru.
Okay.
My guy picks us up. We drive about 3-4 hours to the boat dock, hop on a little hand-carved canoe,
Hello.
go about 4 hours down the Amazon to his he has a place, so it's all-inclusive. It would be like $90 a day per person. That's 3 hot meals. We have horses. We have quads. We have boats.
Oh.
Yeah, we can do all that stuff, man.
Oh. That sounds a little better.
That does sound a little
You're
better.
piquing my interest, right?
bro.
Super easy.
Yeah.
Bugs.
Yeah.
Bugs, dude, any of those survival shows that I
Yeah.
watched, the bugs they'd drive me crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could get down with the bugs, but that would be a lot of fun.
What shots would I need? Is there malaria an issue down there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No. I always travel. So whenever I travel down to Mexico, I always go to a pharmacy off the beaten path.
Yep.
Pay a doc, get a couple extra Z-Packs, or some other things, some other antibiotics that I always travel with.
Yeah.
But I've never had an issue getting sick traveling abroad.
Okay. That's
all.
cool. How many countries have you been to?
I think as of now, I think there's 180 recognized countries.
Yeah.
I could be off on that, but it's around that ballpark. I think I've only been to like 53, 55.
I've been to like 3, and Canada's included in that. So maybe
That's
4.
like America's hat.
Yeah, I don't think it
Doesn't really
counts.
count.
Yeah. I've heard it called gay North Dakota. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Sorry, Canadians. I have some good Canadian friends that listen.
I think it's
Sorry.
the accent.
Sorry, Chris.
Yes. That's freaking wild.
Yeah.
So you said Military, what branch?
I was in the Army.
Nice. How many years?
Did just under 7.
Yeah.
I did the whole, the life cycle, the combat, something. Basically, you could extend to stay the lifetime of the contract. So I think I extended an extra year and a half.
Right. To complete your initial 8-year MOS.
Yeah, it was something like that, something weird. But yeah, stationed up in Alaska with the 501st Parachute Infantry Regiment. Went in 02 and got out in 08.
Nice. And then did you get into like government contracts right after that?
Yeah, pretty much. So how all of that started, we were on a mission. This was Iraq, so 06, 07 timeframe, and I see these little blue helicopters, Little Birds. Familiar with that platform?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just right off the deck, just hauling ass, man. We're in a little hide site, and we get back to our camp, and I see these Little Birds land again, and they're blue, and I'm like, I've never seen a blue Little Bird before. It's always been like the 160th guys flying the black ones. And I walked up to one of the guys in the chow hall. He was wearing just regular civilian clothing. He had Oakleys tatted, super jacked. I'm like, who do you guys work for? And he said Blackwater. So I went back to my chew and started typing up Blackwater, and it was a private security firm. Mm-hmm. And so throughout the rest of that deployment, it just kind of piqued my interest, mainly because it looked cool. I didn't know really what it was about. Started doing more digging, and then toward the end of my military time, I put in an application and went and vetted for them in 08, October, November of 08, and passed the course and deployed early 09. So I caught like the tail end of Blackwater. Mm-hmm. Can't really say I was like full-fledged Blackwater, but I caught like the tail end, and then we transitioned over to triple canopy, and just basically changed shirts over there.
Yeah.
What's the job like for those that don't know when you're doing that?
So I was on a tactical support team, and basically we were the QRF. So if the main elements, ran into trouble or they got hit or they needed assistance, we would then deploy, get out there, and basically just augment their guys, support them however they needed to be supported.
What was the main mission of like Blackwater or?
So the specific contract that I was on was the WPPS contract, Worldwide Protective Personnel Protective Services. I can't remember the exact acronym, but it was in support of the State Department. So basically we moved the ambassadors around and other diplomatic personnel around to go to various meetings, USAID people, stuff like that. So basically just high threat PSD, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The screening process. So you were in the Army. How was the screening process for Blackwater versus other programs you went through in the Army? Was it intensely physical? Was there
No. I mean, there was a PT test. I think it was like 1.5 miles. And I had to run it in my age category then, maybe 10 minutes. It wasn't anything crazy. Mm-hmm. As long as you were in shape, you were good.
Right.
Had to do like a bench press test. Let's see what else. Maybe a dummy drag. And then there was a shooting course and stuff like that. But then you can still get peered out. So if you were an asshole, or just a non-performer, lazy, you can peer people out and stuff. So it was intimidating, coming from the military to the big boy stuff. Like, man, I was just a regular 11 Bravo. Like I wasn't in special forces or anything like that. So I was going through this vetting course with dudes that were PJs, SEALs, super intimidating for a young guy.
Yeah, oh yeah, I bet.
But at the same time, I'm like, this is kind of cool because I get to work with all these guys. And, at the end of the day, they're all just normal human beings, man. A lot of them are just good dudes.
Yeah.
And with that, like the camaraderie, the relationships that you built over there on the teams, that's something that I miss today. Like you don't get that in regular life.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday with Julio when we were cold plunging, and I think that's a common theme for a lot of guys these days, right? No matter what, I didn't come out of the military, but just being in law enforcement for a long time, you miss that. Someone told me once, you miss the clowns, not the circus, and I was like, that's exactly it.
100%.
That's why we do it, really, for the people that are beside you. And I imagine coming out of a military environment where you're like living with them 24/7, or if you're on a submarine and you're, never mind.
Go ahead.
Never mind.
No submarine jokes. When you're sleeping in the same bed as them. Yeah, totally different.
That it's extra hard to come out of that, right? Was that a difficult transition for you when you started? Well, I mean, you're not in it, but you're traveling overseas, you're doing executive protection right now. So did you ever even come out of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So when I left contracting in 2015, I started in Iraq and then transitioned over to Kabul, Afghanistan, but hung it up in 2015.
So you did
doing
that
overseas
for 7
stuff.
years?
Right
Ish?
around, yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yep. So transitioned out in 2015, got onto another security project, and the team dynamics just weren't the same because over there, you have a small team. It's you wake up, you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner with each other. You lift twice a day. I mean, you're with your boys.
Yeah.
And anybody that's been in the military or the security contracting overseas, they get that small team mentality, and that's something that I guarantee you everybody misses.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
It's hard to like recreate that in civilian life. We're pretty fortunate in I mean, even though it's real estate, it's like not that cool, but we have that dynamic where we're at work, like we just left the office and we're having a good old time,
Yeah, I got hit in the side of the face with a phallus-shaped object and thought to myself, oh, this is familiar. This is like being in briefing or being on a submarine, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it was pretty accurate.
So we're pretty fortunate because we found a way to kind of recreate that. But, I know a lot of people struggle. And we talk to a lot of people that are moving up here that, they're just retired or just getting out of the military. And so we have those conversations a lot with people and the difficulty in trying to replace that.
Yeah, I can't tell if I feel sorry for us because we've had the experience, right? So then then you miss it,
And
right? Because you go in and it's almost that where you train enough together long enough that you don't have to tell me what you're doing. I've got a good idea what you're doing, or I can hear in your voice inflection what's going on or what you're likely thinking. When you get to that point, and then you move on to a different job or a different profession, and that's gone. Do I feel worse for the ones that experience it and don't have it? I don't think so. I feel worse for the ones that have never had that opportunity.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right? Because that kind of sets it. There is something really special about going through really difficult things with your peers that you train with and work with and having that understanding. It's cool. Like that's the thing you miss.
You never know it's the good old days. We always talk about the good old days.
Yeah, dude.
You never know it's the good old days until it's like 20, 30 years later.
Right.
I wish you can kind of like press the pause button and just live in that moment. I wish I can go back to 02, 03. Those are some of my fondest memories and just live there.
Yeah.
I do too, but then it's good to be back too, right? Like life moves on and there are things that are better now, and I wouldn't want to be underwater for 300 days again. I wouldn't want to be out to sea for 92 days, right? Like there are things about that I wouldn't want to go back to that life. But there was a couple of moments that I can think back on and say, all right, that was a cool feeling. And at the time, you have no idea. You have absolutely no clue.
Yep.
So, I'd rather take it and have experienced it. So you can appreciate it.
That's like the big adventure, right? I was talking to my son about this recently. I was like, you need an adventure as a young man.
Yeah.
You need something that you can look back on and have that. I can't imagine not having anything.
Yes.
I would feel like there was a void in my life.
And that adventure should include some suck, right?
Yeah.
It should absolutely include some suck. Any good adventure, and I've tried to explain this to mine, man, you have to have bad days to know what good ones are.
Right.
Right? Like if you went through every single day and it was just this, that's not a life worth living, right? You have to experience the shit to really appreciate the highs. So go out there and do some stuff and make some mistakes.
Yeah.
There are just some mistakes you can't afford to make in today's day and age, but
true.
go out there and make some mistakes and learn and grow from that.
Yeah. Did you pick up? I imagine you picked up quite a few skills when you were working contracting, because you're working hand in hand with guys that came out of special forces.
I mean, just your typical, marksmanship type stuff.
Yeah.
Stress management and being able to take that pause amidst all the chaos.
Yeah.
And just stay calm, man. Same thing with law enforcement, right? Like, just throughout the years, you get better and better at dealing with that. It's like marriage. You have those rough patches, and I was trying to make a fucking joke there, guys. But, so you have your turbulence, and you're able to stay calm through your past experiences, and I would say that's the biggest thing. We learned a lot of cool CQB stuff, but that's irrelevant in my life now, kind of. PJs are the shit.
Really?
Yeah. So watching and taking multiple courses from guys that have been in that realm, man, just amazing. And then stuff.
For those that don't know, somebody out there might not know what that is. Who are they? What are they?
Pararescue, so the Air Force, FSOC guys, basically top-notch special ops medical personnel.
Yeah.
So they do everything from, the combat missions. They even do some like the rescues, backcountry type stuff. They do everything medical, but at such a high level.
Yeah.
Super high level, man. Those guys are dialed in. And I've never met one that I haven't been just like starstruck. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're cool, dude.
Yeah, it's legit. A little bit of a bromance there.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd hot rack with you, bro. No. But no, that's a really cool perspective because you'd think it'd be something like crazy weapons handling, gunfighter stuff. But it's the ability to stay calm. We see that even at PD when shit gets real, but guys are coming from a different background. The ones that are like, it looks like their heart rate's 65. Saying it might not be, but it certainly gives that appearance. And you take that, a lot of those guys used to train our SWAT team, did some real stuff overseas before that. So take the tactical pause. There isn't any scenario where you can't go, and then go, right?
Yeah.
It just like resets your brain. That's interesting. And checks.
That's like the level I would always strive for, I'm sure I failed many a time, but yeah, you're in like some clusterfuck of a call, or for us as a trooper, it was, 5-car crash, multiple bodies, whatever.
Dogs running across the highway, real shit.
Drunk driver,
Yeah.
and you're dealing with all that shit, and it's like, man, trying to be the calm in that storm. You've got witnesses, victims, all the shit, and it's like that's always the goal, is to be that guy that's like just stoic, getting the job done. And you're right. The senior guys, not all of them, some of them. Some are always better than others, right? But there's some senior guys that you look to and you're like, fuck that dude.
Right.
I want to be like that dude.
And it's always interesting, man, because you go and you're on something hot, right? And all of a sudden rank doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who the composed, and because that's who people look to. That's who they're kind of waiting for direction from, or that's the lead that they follow. And that's what's cool about elite small units, in my opinion, is rank goes out the window when shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
Right? You're looking for those that have taken leadership and proven themselves in training and showed that they can stay composed during times of heightened stress. And that's that's who people follow.
Yeah. I was very fortunate to have on a couple of specialized teams those guys that, man, so thankful for that. Take you under their wing, mock you incessantly, but out of love, and you grow from it.
Ridicule you mercilessly.
Yeah, dude, totally.
Shit talking is the best, though.
Yes.
When you're in a small team element, shit talking, that's when it gets the best.
It's how you vet people, initially, and then it's how you show love.
Yes.
In an odd way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, like, if I'm not mocking you, I may not like you.
Right.
Like, that's possible.
I've already given up on you.
Yeah.
I'm not making fun of you. You're not worth me making
You're
fun
not
of.
worth it.
Yes, absolutely. How'd you end up in North Idaho, dude?
Ooh, I like this. I like telling this story.
Good.
So I was contracting over in Baghdad on the same contract, and a medic on my program, I was friends with his girlfriend on Facebook. She had posted a photo of her and this gorgeous brunette. Well, I hit her up. I'm like, hey, who's the brunette? Ended up being my now wife.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Nice, dude.
So I hit her up, and we started talking. I had just gotten back on deployment. So I had 105 days on and 35 days off. That was kind of the rotation. So I just gotten on deployment, and we talked for 105 days straight. We would sit on, what was it, Skype then. I don't even think Skype's around anymore.
No, I don't think so.
Aging myself here. But we would listen to music to each other. She would play a song, I would play a song. And we'd just sit there and just chill.
Yeah.
We vibed right away. And then it came closer for me to coming home. So I'm like, hey, how about I fly up to Coeur d'Alene and, we hang out. I'll get a hotel. I'll get my own rental car. She's like, yeah, sounds great. Well, like 2 days before I come home, she's like, well, why don't you just stay at my place? And I'm like, hook, line, and sinker. Right.
Nailed it.
Yeah, nailed it. So we met up. We went to Bardnay. We hung out the whole day. She took me down to Tubbs Hill. That's where we had our first kiss, by the way.
Oh,
Nice.
dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But I was super intimidated because she was so gorgeous. And I don't consider myself to be a stud at all, but like I hooked a unicorn, man. Like,
Yeah. I said all the time, my wife's way better looking than me.
hair,
Way
yeah,
better looking
yeah,
than me. I
yeah.
get it.
But spent the whole day just kind of vibing with each other. And toward the end of that trip, let me circle back. She hates this. I'm sorry, babe. I'm going to tell this story. Yes. But so she made the very first move. And I won't go into detail here because we got to keep this PG-13, but I remained a gentleman. And yeah, she swooped in and stole my heart.
Oh, man.
Yep.
That's
She
fantastic.
was the aggressor.
Yep. And so we've been together now for about, I'm going to get this wrong, 13 years. We got married in 2014.
Cool.
Yep. And I have a beautiful stepdaughter. She's 15, getting ready to turn 16.
She's tough, too.
Yeah,
She came cold plunge with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's been there a couple times.
Pretty
It's
awesome. Yeah.
She is a very tough woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both of them are.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's what kind of brought me to North Idaho, man. But she grew up in Montana, so she's got that
Yeah.
that cold white north.
Yeah,
grit.
tough backwoods. Yeah,
Yep,
like the American Vikings.
Yeah, heart of gold.
Yeah.
Heart of gold, that woman.
So while you've been here, well, I guess you were contracting part of that time, but then doing executive protection too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's that? I mean, what's the pace like for that? I know you don't want to get into too many details, but like, do you work for the same person?
Yep. So I work for just one person only, and the schedule varies just depending on what's going on with the client's schedule, and so with that we don't have a set rotation at all. It's just kind of here and there.
Yeah.
So
How much notice do you get? Does it just vary also? Like some are pre-planned, I'm sure. Others, it's like, hey, you're out of there tomorrow. I need you to fly out tomorrow.
it varies.
Yeah.
It could be at two total ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun though.
Yeah.
It's fun. Like I love traveling. Sometimes when I travel for work, I'll fly my wife over toward the tail end of my work trip.
Yeah, there you go.
My return ticket's already paid for.
Cool.
It's cool.
Man, that's
It's an awesome opportunity.
Yeah.
even
That's great.
being the reserves. We started doing that. We started taking those trips and making that a part of our relationship. So I would involve her with that. So
Yeah.
I'd get the weekend off. So it's cool if you can make and you're going way cooler places. All right, I got to fly her to San Antonio. It was like a big highlight of ours. But
That's a cool place, man.
yeah, San Antonio's legit. It was a lot of fun. I mean, you have JBLM out there. It was for like but it's cool. So if you guys are doing that, that's badass. Because use that to go get some vacation and some time for the two of you.
Traveling is what feeds our soul, man.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we really both connect on.
Yeah.
New experiences. Matter of fact, she just took her first solo trip over to Europe. She hit 3 countries. She hit Brussels.
That's wild.
She went
by
to
yourself.
Amsterdam, Brussels, and Paris. All by herself, man.
That's
That's
pretty wild.
cool.
Big girl pants. I was proud
Yeah.
of her.
No, that's a big deal. I feel like I'd be lonely.
Dude, I've always wondered this. So if you're with the same person, like you're part of that executive detail, do you know them really, really well, or do you get like distance yourself from that a little bit?
So you always want to maintain that
Right.
professional space, but yeah, you get to know, the personal and the professional side of your client. So
I think I would struggle with that. I'd be like, bro, come on. Like, I'm too friendly. So that's got to be tough.
yeah, you always keep that arm's length distance, but
Yeah.
there is that relationship and that trust factor that is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I won't go into much detail, but my client is amazing,
Yeah,
and
that's
everything that supports him is amazing. So I'm very blessed that because sometimes you get those
it'd be tough.
high net clients that are just really high maintenance, and I'm very happy with my team and just the whole entire program.
That's cool,
freaking
man.
gig.
Yeah, I know. That's you spent your whole life doing that kind of stuff. It's pretty
right.
wild.
Favorite European country? Like for me, I've never been to Europe. We're talking about it. It's on our list.
Yeah.
My wife and I did an exercise where we wrote down like 10 countries we want to visit, and then we're going to see which ones are the closest.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So if you're going
America.
to Europe and never been, give me which one you can't go without.
Hands down, Italy,
Really?
Okay.
100%.
My wife wants to go to Italy bad.
And I can hook you up with an itinerary that'll knock your socks off, man.
Oh, done deal. I'm 100% in for that. With this recent exodus from law enforcement, no longer being tied completely to like a weekly schedule and rotation and leave, basically. It's the same damn thing as when you're in the military.
Yeah,
We're
so-
definitely doing that.
This was a trip that my wife and I did, I think, last year, and it coincided with a work trip. But flew her in she flew into Rome, rented a car, and then drove to me. I was in Tuscany. And so we were in this beautiful Tuscan valley, this big castle right in front of me, medieval castle. This thing, beautiful. And so she flew in, and I had set up a private dinner at sunset
Ooh.
overlooking the Tuscan Valley.
Oh, shit, man.
Dude, see, why you got to make us look
Yeah.
bad?
I got lucky that night.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
I
it
would
was
hope so.
Like private chef and everything. It was legit, dude. It
That's
even surprised me. So we went from Tuscany to Florence, I didn't have much expectations for Florence, but Florence actually ended up being one of our favorite places.
Yeah.
The food, man, you can eat, and you won't gain a pound. I lost weight.
Oh, wow.
That was my next question, because
Yeah.
they talk a lot about that. Because
Yeah.
Gary Brecka and Joe Rogan kind of popularized. They say you go over to Europe and you can eat bread and pasta, and you don't feel like crap.
Yep. You don't.
Interesting.
I was primed the whole time.
Yeah.
So Florence down to, where did we go? We went so many places. I think we went straight down to the Amalfi Coast. And we stayed there on the cliffside. Have you ever seen pictures of Amalfi Coast?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Gorgeous, man.
Really?
Yeah. And just a huge vibe down there. We rented a little Vespa, so she was on the back. We looked like the two dudes
cool.
off of Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah,
zipping
there
down.
you go.
That's cool.
It rained one day. It was raining, and it was like close to sunset. And dude, talk about romantic.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, we're on the
a
back.
Vespa.
We're on
yeah.
a Vespa driving through the rain.
That's
sunset
on
on
the
the Amalfi
coast,
Coast.
We're doing it.
Yeah, one of my fondest memories from that. And then from there, we went to Naples. But on the way to Naples, she wanted to hit a vineyard or a winery, and I didn't know anything open or available. So we got on Google, and we found Vesuvius Winery, and basically it's a vineyard at the base of Mount Vesuvius.
Oh.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so the one that took out Pompeii,
Yeah,
all that.
yeah.
We also went to Pompeii. Amazing. You should go if you go to Italy. So we go to this place, and amazing. They put out like a 3-course meal and wine, whole tour. Got to walk through the vineyard. Just an amazing experience. And then we ended in Rome, and we did the Colosseum, and that's cool.
Incredible
Yeah.
in and of itself.
Oh, I definitely want to go there. So what's the best way, like how do you go to a country and like get off the beaten path? When you go on a trip, are you planning every place you stay, or are you picking a city and then just figuring it out on the fly? What's the best way to do it? Because I think this is the trap I've always fallen into is like I get stuck on the touristy shit.
Yeah.
And I don't get the experience. I don't need any chiclets.
I would say social media has been a huge help.
Oh.
And then just talking to people in the industry or people that have traveled abroad that I know. I'm always picking their brains, and they have contacts in certain countries, so I can hit them up on WhatsApp and say, hey, if I want to go to a place that's not touristy, where
Yeah.
would you recommend?
I feel like you're just a dude and be like, hey, do you got a guy over here?
I think
Yeah.
that's
Hey,
what I'm gonna
I
do.
got a guy.
Like, hey,
I got a
you
guy
wanna
over
go
here.
with
It sounds cliche, but like I could literally call up somebody and be like, do you have a guy in this country?
Yeah.
And then they may have a driver or, someone that just does tours, private tour. And that's the thing too, if you go somewhere, don't do like a public tour, like pay the extra money if you
Yeah.
can and do a private
okay.
tour.
Yeah.
It's going to be more intimate, and you're not going to have to worry about other annoying people with you. And,
Right.
especially if you go on like a wine tour, you always get that one Karen that's going to get just
Yep.
tipsy as shit, and then she's going to ruin the experience for everybody. So private tours, all the way, hands down.
Okay. Yeah, I my wife and I would love to do that, I think. And it's always been like, here's the other dilemma in my life. Like when the kids were little, it was like, I know it would be amazing to bring them, but then that adds the extra element of like,
Oh, yeah.
how do we do this?
Right.
So now as I'm getting older, the kids are old enough where they're probably doing their own things and we could go without them, but I also want them to experience these things. So I'm trying to figure that out. Like,
If it ever came down to it of picking to go solo with my wife or bring my daughter hands down.
Yeah.
I think it's crucial for young adults to experience other cultures.
yeah.
I think it just, broadens that perspective. And
absolutely.
you learn so much. And you also learn to appreciate what we have over here. I would speak against certain things here in the U.S., like hardcore.
Yeah.
But the more and more that I travel, we have it pretty damn good.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't, politics, and that's always going to be there. All the politics, the racial stuff, the LGBTQ, all that stuff's always going to be there, man. At the end of the day, what I've learned from other cultures traveling around the world, learn to throttle down. Guys like us, we've operated at such a high tempo, high gear, that it's hard for us to throttle back into that second gear and coast. And on top of that, just be a good fucking human, man.
Right.
We can dive into that later if you want, but the whole mental health aspect, ego, and just be a good human, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care your political views. I don't care if you care about mine. Just be a good human, man. Just
That's
be a
what it
good
all
dude.
comes down to. It's like it's not that hard It's not, but I think a lot of people have forgotten that these days, because politics is so divisive that, just don't be a and,
And generally, you're not as far apart as you think that you
No.
are. The media is going to tell you that
Oh,
you're
yeah.
complete opposite. But when it comes down to the things that are internally important for you, even if a completely different political landscape is very similar to what I want. You want what's best for you and your family and the community and decency and all that. There's just a different perspective on how to accomplish it.
Right.
But throttling down is big. Like I work on that still.
You're just coming out of the world. Like you're still in that transition phase where you're getting out, where you can start to throttle down. Although our current job is very wild too. But yeah.
Well, just being comfortable, being at I guess stasis would be the word, or being, somewhere where it's not pegged and it's not a valley, it's not a trough, but just being comfortable somewhere. There was even lady I was talking to, she goes, what do you think of if you're not like really busy or things aren't chaotic? Lazy. That's the first thing that comes to my mind, which should be furthest from the truth.
Right.
You should be pretty comfortable just going, man, life's pretty good. Things are going pretty well, but it's tough to adjust. It's tough to make that adjustment.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced getting off of active duty, or not active duty, but coming out of law enforcement?
Man, probably you tend to assign some of your own self-image, probably like similar to being on teams, right? You tend to assign some of your own self-image with the things that you did or the teams you were a part of, or especially if it's like an elite unit or something, whether you were on SWAT or I ran a drug task force. That's a big goal for people in law enforcement. And then all of a sudden it's gone. So sometimes there's those days where it's like, so who the fuck am I? Right? Like, wait a minute. If I'm not that, because you get tied into that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Eric. I'm a cop. Like, no, there's a million other things that I am first. You're a husband. You're a dad. You're a citizen of the community, truly. So that I haven't been out long enough to really see, but it's been, we've been so freaking busy on the other side that I haven't had a chance to decompress yet.
Yeah. I'm working on that. Of the current job in real estate, like especially in the summer up here, it just gets wild, and maintaining the pace of everything that we do is really difficult. But I'm trying to find that balance of like, hey, I can't be everything for all people at once. Like, it's just not physically possible. Like, things are going to slide, and maybe I need to apologize to this person because I dropped the ball, or just be upfront, like, hey, and then know when to pass work off to somebody else. Like, we're working on that. But I catch those moments where I'm on my property and I'm like yesterday it was a beautiful day and I'm outside and like the wind's blowing and I'm like, things are getting green, and I'm like, I can find those little moments and just live in that moment for a while. And I think that kind of centers me in, finding those moments critical.
Do you have anything in your daily routine that is a non-negotiable that is able to kind of help you throttle down and be present? That's a huge thing for me. Like, I have a hard time being present.
Yeah. Right.
And my wife she nails me on that all the time, man.
Same
It's just,
here.
even when I have nothing going on, dude, my head is still just like thinking about work.
It's particularly bad when I'm out in public, because it's like maintaining awareness of everything. Right?
Hypervigilance.
Yeah. Yes. And if I'm in like at a concert or something, I'm checked out. Like my wife cannot conversate with me because I'm watching and I'm trying, it's stupid, but I can't shut it off. And that kills, my presence, but my kids and wife are used to it at this point. But as far as like daily routine, I get up during the week at 4:30 and I like to have an hour before I need to go anywhere. And I'll sit on the couch and currently drinking decaffeinated tea. That's another story. But I'll take that time, and I have a book that I read every day, and it's the Daily Stoic, and there's just a passage in there. Yeah, you must read it too. And I'll read that and kind of reflect on it. Sometimes I'll just stare out the window, and then I journal in the morning usually. I like to write poetry too, so I'll either write some poetry or I'll just journal a little bit, even if it's one paragraph, doesn't matter. What I try to avoid, and sometimes I fail, is to pick up my phone and start freaking scrolling on social media right away, because that will suck your day away. I try to avoid that and just stick to that other routine, and that's kind of my go-to. That sets that's the only part of my day I can control. Everything after that usually does fall apart, but that hour there's nothing else going on generally that I would have to deal with. So that's my time.
What about you?
No, none of that.
Just drank a lot.
Yeah, pretty much wake up, survive, curse Seth for making me go do either jits or the morning workout. No, there's definitely that early morning. I like that. The kids aren't up yet. My wife isn't up yet. I've got I don't get up as early as he does, but like the 5 a.m. wake up that we've been doing the last 2 weeks has been really good because it's time. It's decompressed, right? There's nothing else going on. There's nothing. I have that same problem. My house is chaotic. Our daughters are 4 and 7, and I joke and say they're feral princesses. And so our house is chaos. So at night, I get the same crap. And we can be sitting, there can be nothing else going on. And she and I will have a conversation. She's like, you're not here. Where are you right now? Right? And I feel so bad because there's nothing more important to me than that human, truly. There's nothing more important to me than that. But man, it's just, I can't get out of my brain, right? There's always something. Okay, what do I need to plan for? What's this next step? What do I need to do next? Why am I not? Whatever. There's always something. So still figuring that out, how to get to my baseline.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your jam?
Wake up, cuddle my dogs.
Yeah,
I
that's an
have
important
2 pugs
factor.
and an Irish wolfhound. So usually the pugs sleep with us, and they're just little fat roly-poly things,
Yeah.
man. And they're cool to just cuddle with.
Yeah.
I'm a softie, man. Animals before humans.
Yeah.
You know,
I-
like I have such a soft
amazing.
spot. They
Yes,
are, dude.
I get it.
But yeah, do that. Wake up.
These are delicious.
Go to
by
the
way.
gym.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's break into all the food, man.
we have to.
So, a lot of this stuff. So all the meat. Thank you. The
Yeah.
meat is from this previous trip over to Germany. Cheese is from Holland.
Freaking good.
Oh my goodness.
Stroopwafels from Amsterdam. German chocolate. And some random dry fruit that I picked up in the airport. And then
Still
the big
tastes
one,
really good.
The big one is these beefy sticks. Those are probably gonna be the most interesting. But I was super hungry. I was flew into
Break it out.
Berlin, and then I was had to drive like 4.5 hours to my next location. And I hit my driver up. I'm like, hey, dude, I am starving. Let's stop at a gas station.
It's like a hot dog. I mean, that's some
Like
high,
a pig in a blanket. Dude.
that's some high dollar. Here, I'll take half. That's some high dollar gas station. Oh shit.
I've had all my shots, dude. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I'm sorry, I'm eating in the microphone. It's terrible. That's surprisingly good.
Yeah, they're really tasty.
No.
That's good, like hunting food. You know,
Oh, yeah.
something to put in. It's lightweight
Yes. Immediate energy.
Yeah.
Like, immediately give you a boost.
for sure.
Hand me one of those big sticks over there and the cheese, please.
There you go. I got
Truffle Gouda from Amsterdam.
This is?
you.
The cheese, yeah.
I'm not a huge cheese guy, but I'm going to give it a rip because I have to.
Okay, so that was last week, right? You
Yeah.
you called me or I called you? I can't remember.
That's good.
And you're like, dude, I'm driving down the Autobahn right now. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
all right, well, I'm not. I'm fucking doing something very mundane here, whatever I'm doing. But yeah,
That's good.
that was pretty cool.
Yep. And then I had to keep the cold plunge going.
Yep.
So
Oh, yeah, right.
I was close to I was at the Baltic Sea, and decided to get my driver too. And he's never cold plunged before.
Yes.
And dude, the Baltic Sea is cold as shit.
Yeah.
But then we get done cold plunging, and this like 70-year-old man and woman pull up on a bike, stripped down, fully naked, and they just walk in, dude, like they're walking to the grocery store.
Yeah.
I felt so weak, man.
Yeah,
I
they're
felt
so much
weak.
harder than I am.
There are levels to this game. I'm
Yes.
telling you, man. Like, yeah, I go on Wednesdays. I would go to the river. There's a 70-something-year-old guy there. Can't remember, mid-70s. Tim. He's always there. He gets in like solid, dude, like a rock. He doesn't give a shit. It's amazing. I don't know. I feel like I have to complain a little bit.
This last Sunday hurt.
It hurt?
I only got in halfway.
The water's it's not getting warmer.
No.
Don't think you're going to come up here and swim right now. Your kids probably would. They won't care.
No.
Yeah.
We ain't going to get in that water. It's rough.
At what point is it too cold / unhealthy?
I don't know, but we've gone past that point multiple times. Was last year? The water was probably 37, but then the air was minus, what was it, 16?
Negative 16
Yeah.
we went into Hayden Lake.
No,
And it was ripping. I mean, the wind, it was bad.
I fucked myself up. Like the tips of my thumbs hurt
Same.
for like a week.
Frostbite
And I was
'em.
like, yeah, that was dumb. So that's the point.
There was no health benefit at all. It was
Yeah.
purely stubborn. It's like, we've made it this many days, bro.
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
going.
we're gonna go.
We're doing it.
And you don't want to look weak in front of other dudes,
Oh,
right? So that
exactly.
just pushes you even more.
If we'd gone by ourselves, we'd have been like, oh, this is effing stupid. I'm not going to do this. But you're with it and you're like, well, I'll do it if you do it. Well,
Right.
if you're going to do it.
That's when the ego comes into play, man. You're like beating your chest. And you're like, I'm not going to show weakness.
Yeah.
Although I did this Sunday, I only went in halfway, but below the waist, everything hurt.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It hurts. It's not worth it.
No.
It's always the tip, dude. That's what gets it the worst.
It was like a ball ping hammer, man. Just.
Yes.
But we stayed in there for, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It was cool. We hit the sauna afterwards. That was a great addition.
Thawed out.
That is next level, dude. I know. I need to get in the sauna again. Come to North Idaho and go cold plunging. Are we making it sound really awesome?
Yeah.
It's a blast.
Will hurt.
Well, then once the water starts heating up, then are we going to transition over to that heatpoxia? I've been wanting to go there.
I'm working on. I need to work on where we do the men's group. They're putting in a cold plunge there, so I'm wondering if I can convince him to let us use it on Sunday mornings as part of the men's group.
That'd be cool.
Because I'll have a sauna too.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
It'd be sweet. Yeah, and even though we couldn't get in at the same time unless we stacked each other, but that would.
Go ahead.
Very
Say it.
submarine-ish. But,
Submarine-ish, yeah. There it is.
But we could cycle through or whatever.
Yeah.
Because heat proxy is cool. Heat proxy is amazing. I don't know if everyone would want to cover the cost of it. That could be the downside.
That's true.
Yeah.
We should do like once a quarter. I'm just going to soft pitch.
Yeah.
Is this going to be Amazon?
Once a quarter. No.
Okay.
That'll be a closed event.
Okay.
Once a quarter, do the cold plunge on Sunday, and then bring a smoker out to Fernan. Do a range day.
Okay.
Or maybe even hit a workout right after the cold plunge, which is the full-on like decompression dudes day.
Yeah.
Bring out your kids, firearm safety. I think it's imperative.
Yep.
We're in North Idaho. A lot of people have guns.
Yep.
Gun safety paramount. Teaching that first and foremost with the youngsters. Just make a full day out of it, man. Smoked meats and guns and physical fitness and
That would be awesome.
we could even bring somebody in to do like breathing exercises, just some cool shit. Man,
I like where you're going with
to bring
this, dude.
everybody level and
I know Big John's in, guaranteed.
You're speaking Seth's language.
You're
right
speaking
now.
my language.
I
You
keep
don't
saying
like,
he's
yeah,
like
fucking working
he's got a
out,
little hippie in
breathing.
there.
Let's
You know
go.
what I mean?
Can we write some poetry while
Some
we're at it?
namaste stuff.
Let's
All
go.
right. Look, I'll give it a rip. Okay, I'll give it a try.
I used to laugh at all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Me too.
I used to laugh at the breath work and
Me too. Some hippie shit.
the guys that do yoga.
Yeah.
Now I look at those dudes and I'm like, you have mobility that
Yeah.
I don't.
Right.
So I do yoga every now and then.
Yeah.
I put that into my practice, trying to get better on the whole mobility thing because my body is not 20 years old anymore.
No, dude, like,
and everything
very-
is
very
broken from my knees to my back. Just depends on the weather, man. Really.
Right. I think we're at that age where like longevity is the game right now, right? We're not hitting that peak in the 20s. We can still be fit and do all of these things, but for me personally, it's like I'm not going to push myself. I can't lift super heavy weights anymore. I've got some nerve damage in my hip, but even then, like I'm not going to do that because I know it's going to jack my joints up. Like I'd rather just tone it down a little bit, stay in good shape.
Yeah.
Play the long game.
It's about maintenance, less
Maintain.
performance, and more maintenance for the
Throttling
long haul.
down, man.
Yes, throttling down.
Not deadlifting 400 pounds anymore.
No. Like I don't need to.
Like 225 is good for me. for
Right.
deadlift.
For me, it's like, can I move another human being? Can I throw a man if I need to throw a man? Like, I don't know many 400-pound men. And if you are, I'm just not going to be able to carry you out of a burning building. I'm sorry.
Nope.
That's your
Maybe
fault.
once.
Maybe
one
Yeah, I'll pay
time.
for it though.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah. Okay. Where are some of these other things from? What do we got here?
I think. So
What's this?
just a little handmade pot. I don't know what it's made out of. It's like a little thread and maybe a little bit of epoxy. But I got this in
Looks
Peru.
like it was woven underwater. Just saying.
Yeah.
You have a degree in that.
Maybe.
But I got this from a small little village in Peru. Always like to support the local
Hell yeah.
the local economy when I can. But yeah,
That's finely made.
yeah, this is really cool.
How the hell?
Like the colors as well.
That is cool.
A kid probably made that because they're so skilled and they can do it.
And something that I could never do.
No. Yeah, I can attest to that. I saw you make pottery.
Easy, dude. My bowl was amazing.
We went and made pottery last week. It was pretty cool.
I've been wanting to take my daughter to that place.
It was cool.
Legit?
It was neat.
Yes.
Yeah, it was super neat.
Very neat.
Yeah, I'd
Definitely do it.
I would do it again.
I love to work with my hands. It's super therapeutic for me. Unless I'm under time pressure, like whatever. But if I'm being creative and I can use my hands and have no time pressure, super fun. I love that. Yeah.
Right
All right,
on.
what is this thing? Does this look like a Warhammer?
Yeah, so I picked this up, French Polynesia. So I got that one in Tahiti. Yeah, and I like to collect like war weapons
Oh, so
from
it is
different cultures. The lady that sold it to me, she called it a jawbreaker, and I don't know exactly how it was used or what time period it's from. But I'm like, that just looks pretty cool.
I feel like I could definitely break somebody's jaw with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they had massive ones like the size of oars
Really?
that were like. So that's a small one.
It's the
So that was French. And that's
Baby version.
French Polynesia. Isn't that where Bali is?
South Pacific,
Okay. Okay.
and then this one same place. So this is my second time
yeah,
down
there
there. And again, just a cool piece, right, to put
Yeah.
on my travel mantle. My travel mantle is just littered with cool little, mementos, souvenirs like
Right.
this. Yeah, just a little axe from French Polynesia. This was on my second trip down there, yeah.
Do you have to make little notes for yourself? And say, like, this is where I got this. I've been this place so many times.
I should. Yeah.
They don't forget.
This one, that was from South America as well, so that was my second trip down to Peru.
Oh, that's cool. It's carved.
Yeah. Just a real cool, unique piece.
Yeah. I like that. And then you got
Are you
the.
going to use that thing during our breathing exercise?
Yeah.
Just a little shake.
That may be during another ceremony.
Yeah, there we go.
Bring some smoke.
Yes, yeah, that's what it is.
South America, when ayahuasca. Okay. This is like a Guy Fawkes mask.
So, Florence.
Oh.
Florence, Italy. Yep.
That's cool.
That was a thing over there. And again, handmade. Beautiful little art piece to put on the mantle.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
Oh, I'm going to hit you up on that. With
Yeah.
the Italy trip,
Yeah.
like just lining out an itinerary.
And I could hook you up with a contact in Tuscany for a place for you to stay. A little beautiful bed and breakfast next to that castle.
Yeah.
I could put you in touch with the owner.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, man, you could have your own private dinner overlooking the Tuscan Valley.
Is it worth it when you're going somewhere like that? For somebody that's looking at traveling, is it worth it to learn a little bit of that language? Like just a rough, and how do you do it? Do you just jump on like,
Good question.
do you just jump online and get one of those programs and just kind of give yourself like a rough?
Sure, there's a whole bunch of different modalities that you can utilize. So some people learn with a paper book. Some people learn best with like audio. But there's a whole bunch of little apps out there. Like Duolingo, I think is one. And then, yeah, I can't remember the names of them right now. But Google Translate, that app has saved me more than
I believe
get.
that.
Yeah, because you can literally, like if you have a menu or something that is in a different language, you can translate it to English. So you just put your camera over it, and then it translates it real time.
Oh, shit.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's pretty cool. Now they even have, I think Apple's coming out with an earbud, like a AirPod, that will translate. So if you're Swahili and I need it translated to English, it'll do just that.
Oh
Holy
man,
shit.
they can't talk shit to our faces anymore.
Yeah,
They won't be able to get away with that.
Yeah.
I know what you just said. It wasn't very nice.
That's super. That checks off a big challenge for a lot of people, right? I think that's a big concern for people is how am I going to even communicate? That makes it a lot easier. That's fantastic.
Yep.
What's like the most unique place you've been?
Morocco, so northern Africa, a little town called Fez. And we stayed in a Medina, which is like a hotel that was a little over 700 years old. And I'll have to show you pictures of this place. It was phenomenal. It looked like something out of fucking Aladdin. Wow. Like you walk in, everything's just hand carved wood, gold.
700 years. You think of the history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lifetimes of people that have worked in
Right.
there and lived in. Holy shit.
Yeah, and so this little Medina of Fez is just historical and so beautiful. Even like the pathways were all original, and you have to duck to go through different pathways and stuff. And it's something straight out of Aladdin, man.
That's cool.
It was crazy. The wife again, she walked around by herself. I got super sick over there, so I guess I lied. I got super sick in Fez after eating salad. They washed it with sink water.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
yeah,
I was down hardcore for like 24 hours, shaking. I almost had to go to the hospital.
Golly.
Thought I was gonna die, man.
Yeah.
It was so bad. But yeah, so Fez and the Sahara.
Okay.
We did a camel ride through the Sahara, and like in the middle of the desert, they have these luxury tents that they'll pop up, and you go there and have dinner. And
Do you have pictures of that on your Instagram? I feel like I've seen something
yeah,
in the desert.
there's some stuff of Morocco for sure. Yeah.
Dude, but that's the way to travel. Like that is right up my alley. I don't want like a 5-star sandals resort. I don't like the inclusive stuff. And I know that's not.
Maybe sometimes. Right?
Yeah, I can't relax that well, anyways, right? Like me sitting on the beach for 10 hours does not sound fun to me. I don't.
No.
I want to go immerse myself in whatever country I'm in. Now you go to a place that's 700 years old and you're ducking through, thinking about the people that came before you, where their life expectancy was like 35 years old. Right. It's wild to think about, what that was like then.
Yep.
And how far humans have come or regressed. Depends on your perspective, I guess. But that's where that stuff's neat to me. In the history. In Europe, so much. I will nerd out on like the castle and
That's the only type of travel that I like to do. Like I can't go down to Cancun and stay at a Hard Rock, or go to Hawaii and stay in a all-inclusive. Like thank you, man.
There's a grotesque element to that. I just got back from that cruise. And the entire time, the only image I had, I couldn't get it out of my head, was like, we're all cattle, and we're being fed it had led to the feeding trough, and then led to this thing, and led to this thing, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's fun to indulge, but then after a couple of days, you're like, I'm disgusted with myself, and this is dumb. So,
well, it's like WALL-E. If you've ever watched the cartoon WALL-E,
exactly,
where they're on a cruise ship and they don't have to do anything for themselves. And
can you give me a little rascal to drive around in? So I don't have to effort at all.
And sometimes it seems like the way we're going as a society, where literally everything is about not exerting any effort at all and making things as simple as possible. As badass as that language is, Google Translate and having an earbud that translates somebody's language, before you actually had to invest some time to become a part of their culture for a couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
It's just a totally different animal now.
Yeah. And what I'll do too is I'll get on Amazon and I'll order like a quick read history book or something about the area that I'm going, just so I have a little bit of knowledge, right? Just a little bit of something, because it makes the trip a little bit more interesting. Because then when you see something, you're like, I know exactly what that is, or I know what that means. But traveling in that, like I do, it can be super intimidating for people. But I tell you, it's super easy
and rewarding.
Just go out and do it. Huh?
It's super easy. You just go out there and you do it. You rent a car, hop on a. If you've never ridden a train over in Europe, it can be intimidating for the first time. I know it was for me, because you don't know the language. Like it's just
you don't really know where it's going.
Yeah,
you're like,
sure.
all right. But when the day is yours, you're like, I'll figure it out. I'll make it back. Like a lot of it's just the confidence to get yourself out of something, that's a little bit messy. Like if you're on the train too long and you're having trouble getting back, just the confidence to be able to weather that.
Yeah.
Or get a room somewhere else.
That's part of the adventure, though. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
These cookie cutter, like having somebody plan out a trip for you. And
I don't like that.
Nope. No,
we talked about that with the cruise. I warned you going in. It was like, because I've been on, it's just different.
I think I had to know. I had to do it. I don't see any world where I'd ever do another cruise again.
No.
I'm like,
Where'd you guys go?
We went out of Miami and then down I don't even know, Mexico, but I wasn't even paying attention.
Gulf America.
I was eating and drinking the whole time like a good cattle.
Yes, that's right. Like a good cruise goer.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I did one in Alaska. That was a lot different than the cruises that are down there.
Oh shit! There's honey inside of that thing.
Yeah, dude.
They're so. You never had one of those? They're so good.
I don't know. I don't know that I had.
They eat those with coffee, right? Or those are it's like a breakfast thing.
Bring the rest of them home for your kids.
Oh, my son will go crazy, especially when he finds out it's a legitimate one. He asked for those for Christmas.
There you go, son.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little late, but
So speaking on international travel, my daughter's done a little bit with us as well. UK, we did Northern Scotland. For her 16th birthday, we're taking her to Greece and fucking Italy, dude. And we're bringing her best friend with her. So my wife is huge into using points. She uses like the credit card point system.
Yeah.
So traveling is super cheap. I mean, you're spending the money anyways, but you're just getting the points on the credit cards. But for instance, when we flew back from Casablanca, Morocco, back to the States for 2 first-class tickets, it cost us like $300.
Oh, wow.
Something like that.
All right, best card for travel. Best credit card for travel.
I'm not the dude. I'm not the financier. I'm not the CFO of our family.
Yeah, we need to get her on the podcast.
that's cool.
But yeah, man.
Greece would be amazing. I've got a cousin that grew up in Greece and she lives there now, so I have like a tour guide if I want it.
Greece is amazing.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard Greece is awesome. So tell me this: between Scotland and England, which would you pick if you were going?
Hands down, Scotland.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I want to go so bad.
I'm not going to talk too much shit on England, but not again.
Okay.
At least for personal.
Right.
Yeah. a lot of different elements that are kind of taking place there right now.
Yeah.
Their immigration stuff.
Yeah.
I was just there.
Is that killing? I mean, that's killing the culture, the original culture.
So
That's a bummer.
Speaking with the locals that born and raised that are from there, a lot of them are moving to Spain apparently.
Really?
Yeah, but we went to a few areas you wouldn't even recognize it. A lot of mosques.
That's
that type of stuff,
strange.
right?
What a strange dynamic that they would allow the culture. And it's obviously, it's nice to be welcoming to other cultures, but
For sure.
But when that culture starts taking over and then you lose that identity, that's a huge loss for the world.
And for that culture, that's kind of
How they do
being very, overpopulating the area. They're not bad. That specific culture isn't bad. It's actually one of the most beautiful cultures I've ever experienced in my life. It's just they get that bad publicity, the media, all the fanatic extremist stuff. They get put into that entire pool. But yeah, you go into some parts of England,
Can't recognize it.
no churches, mosques,
Wild.
just
Weird.
every few blocks.
Dude, we talked about that with the United States, and the EU almost seems like that, especially with them going to Spain. It seems like some of those countries are competing for good, productive citizens.
Yeah.
Right? Just like our own states are. We're a republic. Each state's going to have their own policies and things that will draw certain attention. Idaho's doing that now. We're providing this beacon for people that want to come be free and work and contribute. So it seems like over there, some of those countries are competing for good citizens too. And in my opinion, let them.
Yeah.
Competition breeds performance, right? So if Spain all of a sudden starts kicking ass because all of England's good, productive members of society move there, it's a win. Maybe England will be like, maybe we should refocus a little bit on some of our policies.
Might be too late.
Right? Might be. Well, same here. If California keeps losing all of their productive members, they're not going to get bailed out the way they used to.
No.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That sucks too, man, because California is one of the most beautiful states.
It's got a lot of cool places.
Geographically, it's incredible, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the mountains. The northern California is super awesome. Redwoods and obviously the beach. But even going further out east, it's incredible.
You have everything there.
Yeah.
Everything.
Literally.
I personally would never, ever live there unless the pendulum swung a little bit more, But
A lot of it.
it sucks because that state has so much potential. So much potential.
Well, what was it 20 years ago, 20 or 25 years ago? California by itself was the 5th largest GDP in the world.
Yeah.
Just California. I mean, it might have been 30 years ago, 35. But either way, they were the 5th largest gross domestic product as far as an economy on the planet. Just that state. So, because they've got everything. I mean, you're talking about resources and imports and exports and all that.
I could see a world in 20 years where California has shifted back the opposite direction, and now people are leaving places like Montana and Idaho because it's become too crowded, and moving back to California because it's cheaper there than it is here.
We talked about that.
I could see that
Yes,
world, and it would be a
too.
weird freaking mind shift.
What's crazy is California is probably going to swing back before Oregon and Washington.
Yeah.
Oregon and Washington are doubling down on awful policies.
Yep.
And there's growing parts of California that are like, this isn't sustainable much longer. We'll see.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
Yeah. I don't want to go down that tangent too far. So you take a lot of pictures when you're out. You're a
love
photographer as
photography.
well. Yeah.
I wouldn't classify myself as a photographer. I love photography. It's therapeutic to me. I call it therapy through a lens.
Yeah.
And so when I'm able to stop, pause, and just be in the moment and just capture whatever it is I'm capturing.
Get some cool shots on your Instagram.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Can I link your Instagram on our channel?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So people can stalk you.
That's fine. It's private, so I gotta a little scrub.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to send them a message.
It is
They'll let you
freaking cool when you get really good pictures on a really good trip. It is almost like that thing. You know how smells can take you somewhere from your past? Or a song will take you somewhere. You flip through and look at your pictures of a trip where you had like this amazing experience, and you look at it and you are right back there. You're like, God, what an incredible feeling it was. It's fun to go back and revisit it just to check yourself, remind yourself.
How many more pictures do you wish you would have taken when you were in the military?
Dude,
Man.
that was my biggest regret, and I've got like 10 photos.
Me
from
too.
14 years as a cop. I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking?
I just left, dude, and I've got I went flipping through, and I think I've got like 7 or 8.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I'm like, that was so dumb. I'm like, but the whole time I'm like, I was like dumbass. I'm like, I just take memories, and then I forgot that I have zero fucking memory. And I'm like, I can't remember anything. So that's cool. Yeah, that's a big regret. And I always tell people, whatever you're doing, take lots of photos.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, photography, man. I love everything from drone photography to you name it. I love it. It's my vice.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, you flew the drone, I think, first time we went cold plunging.
Yeah, tossed
Somewhere
it
around
up.
there. Yeah,
Yep.
it's always cool.
How much surveillance stuff doing what you're doing right now is just going pure drone? Like how?
I mean, sure, it's there,
Right.
But it's also getting the client to buy off on that because everything comes down to money, and then you have to get guys certified, part 107 certified. I mean, it's becoming more and more prevalent. You know, it's a what's the industry term? It's a force multiplier, if you will.
Right.
So you know, instead of sending 5 guys out for a little patrol, you can just toss up a drone, and depending on what payload you have on it, you can have night vision, or you can have thermal. And then you're also taking that human aspect out, so safety.
Yeah.
Law enforcement. You
Yeah,
guys
of course.
utilize that stuff quite a bit. But as far as my current project, nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a cool tool to have, but unless you're covering a lot of acreage or, threat levels really there, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It is cool. Hey, we're over an hour here. It's time to wrap it up, fellas. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah.
Cool, for sure.
That was
I
awesome.
appreciate it. Thank you for bringing all this.
Yeah, what a
awesome
spread,
stuff.
dude.
The fat kid me is very thankful.
A lot of leftovers.
We worked out today, though, so we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you've noticed, I've been shifting in my seat a lot because my freaking legs hurt so bad.
That was a rough one today.
That was a rough one, dude. So
that was a
I'm
little
struggling.
brutal.
Yeah,
It's good.
Yeah. Well, Stu, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. I will link your Instagram, and people can try to get a hold of you at least. Maybe you can selectively let them in.
Yeah, and if anybody has any questions about, getting into overseas traveling, a little bit more on the non-touristy side, feel free to hit me a DM or, just get a hold of me and talk you through it. It's not as intimidating as it seems.
I
No.
appreciate your knowledge, and if you
Truly.
talk me into going to the Amazon, if Eric goes, I'll go.
Dude, I'd do it. I would do it. Like that'd be one of those experiences, man. Like
Right?
yeah. How often do you get that?
I have never canoed in a hand-carved canoe on the Amazon.
But
So
I'd imagine you'll get some guys reaching out to you too, just on the executive security side. A lot of expat, or
Sure.
ex-vets that are interested in that line of work.
Yep.
Well, I do have one question for you. Where do you see? How long do you think you'll do it?
I don't know, man.
good
Right now, I'm pretty good. I don't see myself leaving it anytime soon. But again, if another opportunity presents itself that can streamline my financial goals or is beneficial to my family, then no questions asked.
yeah,
Cool.
Yeah.
that's
I'm not married. I'm not married to it.
Right.
But if something else came around, peace out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a man who's got his
good place to
priorities
be.
in line.
Yeah,
Right.
100%. Well, thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Yep.
And we will catch you on the next one.
Cool.
Gonna eat.
Time to eat.